Welcome to Aphra's Artifacts, where we do some archaeology of our own and dig into the queer side of Star Wars. I'm your host, Alia Morgaine, and it's so great to have you here. Well, today we are joined from Montreal by a queer content creator in the Star Wars fandom on YouTube and archive of our own. Thank you so much for coming.
Hi, it's so great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yay! These have been so much fun. I've really enjoyed doing these interview episodes. So I hope to do many more in the future, but I'm so happy that you are here today with me.
Excellent. Yeah, it's so great. And my friends from Pink Milk, Mark and Brian, they were both asking me. They're like, "Oh, have you been on Aphra's yet? Have you been on Aphra's yet?" I'm like, "No, not yet. Not yet. Be patient." Because we all want to like talk about what a great
Yeah,
experience it was and like how much fun we had.
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
So I'll get started with the first question. Who is the
Hmm.
most relatable character to you in Star Wars?
So I've talked about this before, especially on the Katana cast. Um, and I've talked about how for me, Ben Solo slash Kylo Ren is the most relatable character because I had a very similar emotional journey to
Mhm.
his through my life. Like I had parents who did not understand me, and like not in the like emo like you don't understand me like way. It was like my emotional needs were genuinely not met as a
Mhm.
child because um I think I had some issues that went undiagnosed, partially because of the time in which I was born. And I'm 40. So there are a lot of things that people didn't understand about child behavior in the 80s that they do now.
Yeah.
And so there was that. But yeah, also just the fact that like just kind of like and it wasn't anything that they did or chose. It was like genuinely life circumstances. Like there was the fact that my parents' marriage broke up they and it left them both kind of isolated in their own way. And like um my mom didn't have a lot of resources because it was before no fault divorce. So the
Mm.
division of assets was very unequal um when the marriage ended. Um and so she struggled a lot, and so she had to be focused on providing the basics of life. And my dad, um I mean, he was a guy, like he was socialized as a guy in this world that has toxic masculinity and everything. And so he wasn't really there emotionally and wasn't very nurturing of me, so because he just didn't know how to be. So it
Mhm.
was like I was kind of stuck in this perfect storm of, and also the fact that like I did really well in school and I was an early reader and blah blah blah. So it was like everyone was like, "Oh, she'll be fine," you know? And like on the inside, I was not fine. And I needed a lot of emotional nurturing and support that wasn't there. And it wasn't because anybody was deliberately cruel to me, and it wasn't because people were purposefully neglectful, but the
Mhm.
result of it was like constructively emotional neglect.
Yeah.
And anyway, to take it further, like because I didn't learn how to be a person for a long time, there was a big chunk of my life that I spent acting out and being like a not very fun person to be around, and not knowing how to be a good friend, and not knowing how to be authentic in relationships, and how to be like a positive person to be around. And there was a lot of, and it was just a kind of a lot of like pain and drama, and people getting upset with me, and alienation. So I sort of had that experience of like acting out, and the result of it was like loneliness and alienation. So, and I think
Yeah.
we can see that pretty clearly in that character. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
and but then also, like Ben, I had the experience of a handful of people came into my life who were very compassionate, and who made a safe place for me to be vulnerable, and who sometimes made the first move in being vulnerable with me. and making me feel like I was worthy of that.
Mhm.
And that is what set me on the path to being able to rehabilitate my life, because I
Yeah.
saw that it could be, I saw that there were other possibilities for me, and that there was a possibility of like genuine connection in my life, and when I saw how rewarding that could be, that was what I glommed onto, and I nurtured that, and I changed my life.
Yeah. I feel like we have a lot in common. Like a lot of what you just said. I was like, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. For example, have you read the Rise of Kylo Ren comic?
Yes,
So
I was talking about it on the show just on Friday.
okay, yeah. So we on Tumbling Saber, we were talking about that comic series, and both Nathan and Kyle were like, "This was horrible. I hated it. It was awful. I don't understand why Ben went bad when his parents loved him." And I'm like, "I get it. I get
Yeah.
it because my parents love me,
Yep.
but that doesn't mean that my needs were met."
Yep. Yep.
And I I get how he fell.
Yeah.
And that comic series to me really hit home.
Mm.
And so I get you. I get it.
Yeah.
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 So then the next question, who is your favorite Star Wars queer character?
It's Amelin Holdo.
Yeah.
She is my favorite. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I love her. I
Oh,
love her forever. Yeah.
she is so I because she's one of my most relatable characters because she is so weird, and I consider myself a little weird,
Mhm.
so I relate to that. And then the fact that she's totally pansexual, so there's that, which is awesome.
Yep.
So I love that.
I love the fact that one of the things that I love about her is how she is so like proud of her culture,
Mm-hmm.
like talking about skyfaring and like about how beautiful and amazing it is, and like just it reminds me of, like, I mean, I live in Montreal now, but I'm a transplant technically.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom grew up here, and she always gave me this appreciation of francophone culture, and like we would always listen to francophone music at home, even when we were living back in an anglophone province, and and we would eat francophone food, and like I learned all like the folk tales and legends, and she just gave me like such an appreciation for our family's roots in that way. So like
Yeah.
I totally related to that, to like seeing the beauty in where you come from and wanting to share it with other people, even if they can't necessarily relate. You just kind of are like, this is a cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
She has so many layers.
I
Emmeline
know.
has so many layers.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. So what kind of representation would you like to see more of in Star Wars?
Oh man, we need more openly gay people,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and we need to see love stories of different kinds,
Hmm.
queer romances, queer love stories, you know I mean, because it's like it's all well and good to like make it canon that like Lando is pansexual, but like I want to see like some swashbuckling adventure of him with like some like hot smuggler dude,
Yes. Oh
whatever,
my gosh, yes.
or even like a non-binary person,
Yeah.
like that cool non-binary pilot from Last Shot. Like
Taka.
yes,
I
like
love Taka.
how cool would it be to give Taka a love story?
Oh,
I know, right?
that would that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I love Taka. They were such a wonderfully written character.
Yes, I know. I love them so much.
So then, how is it for you as a queer person to be in the Star Wars fandom?
Well, I have to say it's pretty great because I found the corners of it that are queer
Hmm.
friendly. You know, I mean, like being so huge in the Raylo fandom, I mean, everyone there is queer. Like people run Twitter polls and it's like, you know, are you queer? Yes or no? And it's like 63% yes. Like it's so far, it's so far high. Like it's so high about like beyond what you find in the general population. Like that slice of fandom is just so queer. It's like not even funny.
That's awesome.
I know, right? And it explains a lot of things. But anyway, um, and also, you know, like having met Brian just randomly, just having the universe, you know, like meet Brian Barry of Pink Milk. And then, you know, I was invited onto the roundtables to talk about season 1 of The Mandalorian. And then out of those roundtables, you know, there were 9 of us who participated. And Brian asked a handful of us if we wanted to do a YouTube show. And that's where Pink Milk After Dark came from. So doing the Pink Milk show every Friday, you know, on YouTube, like it's been a great way to plug into the queer Star Wars community and just kind of have like a little niche, you know? Because like people, you know, and I mean, Brian says most of our listeners are straight, which statistically makes sense, but you know, it's just so comfortable. It's like, it's so like welcoming and positive, like honestly. And as I actually said to Brian today, when it comes to Twitter, I just block early and block often. You know, it's like life is too short for people with silly opinions.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, like being like I'm like honest, Twitter is one of the major ways in which I interact with the Star Wars fandom right now. And
me too.
And yeah, so it's like, you know, I I have had a very positive experience, but I am also cognizant of the fact that it's part of it is luck and part of it is just because I stay in my little corner. You know, I've never tried to like mix and mingle with like the you know, like the Star Wars Explained crowd and stuff. Like I don't mess with that stuff because it's like too many people and people are jerks. So
Well, I do have to say that Alex is a really awesome person.
Oh yes, no. The leadership there is flawless.
You're talking about the fans.
Yes, exactly. That's what
Gotcha.
I'm saying.
Okay.
Oh gosh, no. I no shade whatsoever on Star Wars Explained. They were one of the first people to ever have Pink Milk on. They have been great supporters of us. We love them 5,000%, but their fan base is so huge.
Yeah.
That there's just bound to be some bad apples in there, you know?
Well, it's like when I won Dragon Con Star Wars Trivia in 2020, his fans were not happy with it because it was on his channel. It was virtually streamed on his channel, and his fans were like, they were like picking out little pieces of little things that I had like maybe, I don't know. It was really disconcerting, and
like
I was like
technicalities.
yes,
Yeah.
and I was like, you're making me feel like I didn't win. Like this is really sad.
Yeah, see, this is why this question is relevant, right? As a queer person, what's your experience with Star Wars fandom? Because there is going to be some negativity out there, you know. It's a pretty boring question if everyone is like, great, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there is always some friction, but it's like, whatever, who cares? You know?
Yeah.
Like I said, you know, you find a good place to hang out in, and that's where you hang out.
Right. Yeah. And I definitely curate. I definitely curate my Star Wars experiences with people that really like that really accept me, and I can be completely open and be totally myself, and they're totally fine with it, and it's not a big deal. Yeah. So but yeah, it does take curation. So
yeah, for sure. Use that block button. Blocky. That's what
I actually saw your co-host, that gay Jedi.
Chase.
Yes, Chase. About how Gina Carano blocked him.
Yep.
It was like, I'm having such a good day. Like, that is hysterical.
It's a badge of honor. Yeah, it's a badge of honor.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Hutsleia, Huttslea, and you can also find me every Friday night. Well, most Friday nights. We're taking a break for Black Friday, but right after that, so that's as of the 3rd of December, we're going to be pretty much regularly weekly on YouTube at Serving Pink Milk every Friday at 11 Eastern.
Very nice. And remember to everybody watching, like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter at AliaMorgain, and peruse my blog at thestarwarsreview.blogspot.com. May the force be with you.
And ship who you want. All ships are valid.